What's good, ladies and gentlemen of YouTube? JDaisy here with the JDaisy Gaming Channel, here with a look at the open beta for the upcoming Ubisoft game, Steep. The open beta was open this weekend. I believe it closes either today or tomorrow, Monday or Tuesday. And it looked really good. I was really pleased with it. I played around with it for probably maybe an hour or so. It's beautiful. It's coming from Ubisoft, so you know you're dealing with the greatest, or like the people with the most money and the most people to be able to work with this, and it really shows. There's not a whole lot to it. It is an open beta, but I think that's kind of the theme I got for the whole game, is there's not a whole lot to it. It's set to come out December 2nd of this year, which I think is very ambitious. But and I've thought this ever since they announced it at E3, that this game doesn't seem like there can be a whole lot to do. But then again, I've never been a big fan of sports games. I never played like the Tony Hawk games or anything. So I went into this because that is my job, to look at games and review them for use. And I played it, and I snowboarded and wing glided and parachuted and skied, and that's about all there really was. There was challenges for it, but there wasn't a lot of substance. The meat and potatoes was there, but there wasn't any broccoli or corn or beverages. It was just meat and potatoes. And from Ubisoft, that's very strange. You know, you get Assassin's Creeds and other games like that, and there's these huge, expansive open world games where there's so much to do, and then this, you know, in Far Cry you can do thousands of things, and then in this all you have is pretty much 4 options with a few challenges thrown in. But then again, they did make The Crew, which is a racing game, which had the same basic concept. But you know, at least with The Crew, you had different vehicles, different trucks, different categories of said trucks to do. You know, even with this, all you can really do is have a different snowboard, a different ski. There's not a whole lot of stuff to do. But if you're a big fan of like those sports games, this is kind of the first game I've really seen to come out for that winter sports niche. But if you're into winter sports, like that's your jam, this is kind of the first game to really do that I've seen. You know, I've been watching games for my entire life, and I can't really think of many big name games to come out that are focused on that winter sports thing. It's not like a racing game where Gran Turismo or Forza comes out every single year or every 2 years. There's not a whole lot that really comes out for the winter scene. You know, maybe like when the Winter Olympics come, some company puts out a Winter Olympics game and you can do stuff like that. But there's not an open world game. So I think that's it's nice, I guess, that a big name AAA company like Ubisoft did this. But still doesn't excuse the fact that I don't know how much more you can do. You know, even if this is your jam, this is your game, you're like, this is my sports, I'm going to love this. I don't play Madden, I don't play NBA, I don't even play tennis, but I snowboard. That is what I do. I mean, good for you, but that's a very small, narrow amount of people for a AAA company to be dumping in this much money. And I can't argue with that. What I can argue with is the price tag. It's a full price game at $60 American dollars, and I think that it's just too steep for the amount of people you're trying to attract in. If you're charging $60, there has to be $60 worth of content there. And me, as somebody that's not into winter sports, really, I love snow and stuff, and I like winter, but I don't snowboard, I don't ski. The wingsuiting was really cool. The parachuting was really cool because it actually let you take in the beauty. You're not flying by at 1,000 miles per hour. There's more in the parachuting, less in the wingsuiting. Wingsuiting, you're concentrating on not hitting rock. But there's not enough for me to justify spending $60. Maybe if it was like a $30 game, I'd say, yeah, this is, you know, if you want something visually appealing and you just want something to, you know, dick around in for an hour, this is definitely where to go. But at $60, I can't justify spending that money to, you know, only spend a couple hours on, in total. It just, doesn't seem like enough substance to it. And maybe the full price or the full release of the game will have a whole bunch of side stuff and maybe even a story or something, but I don't think that's what they're going for in this game. Ubisoft just announced the other day in a press conference that they're going to be going away, in a really confusing press conference to me anyways, that they're going to go away from like story-driven games, and that their games are going to be more in line of the player making the difference and choosing their path, which I think is very much different for them. But maybe that's a good sign. Maybe that's where the industry is going. Maybe more towards Mass Effect area of every decision changes the outcome. But this is definitely not to that level, I think. Because if they're saying every decision changes an outcome, this game is, what, now there's a rock on the mountain where there wasn't a rock? But don't let me, this isn't me bad mouthing it. It looks visually amazing. The soundtrack was visually good, or audioly good. I don't even know if that's a word. But I just can't justify it at $60. And if this is your thing, this is what you're looking for, this is exactly the game that you're like, yes, a winter sports game. I've been wanting to snowboard. I don't rollerblade, but I snowboard. Good. Go for it. I can't tell you that that's not a good way to spend your money. But if you're just an average gamer that likes playing all the big games that come out and stuff, I don't think this will be a game you're going to get a lot of enjoyment out of, especially if you're like an FPS player. Don't even look at it. If you're an open world, like exploring things, maybe pick it up on a really cheap sale someday from Humble Bundle or Green Man Gaming. But I just can't justify buying this at $60, and I don't think many of the consumers will. So in wrapping up to this short little video, I just wanted to get this out. It was an open beta, but I didn't play that much into it. Like I said, I played about an hour before I kind of got bored of it, I guess you could say. There wasn't much more for me to do. Visually, audio, and the company, all good things. The visually, I don't think I've seen snow deformation that well. That's a really weird sentence for me to say, but it's true. You actually get a grand scale of how large this mountain is, which is awesome. There's a lot of detail, but that's all to be expected from a AAA company, I think. The soundtrack and stuff is all there. It's all very nice. And it does really well what it's trying to do. Those 4 things that it's going for, or 5 things, are done really well. You snowboard really well, you ski really well, and stuff like that. And on the con side, I just don't feel like there's a lot of content there. There's not a lot for $60. I don't think for a typical average consumer can get that out. And also, as a side note, playing this on the PC,
oh, no, that was terrible. I bumped into a guy when we were both wall running.
Compute very well. It crashed almost immediately.
Like we slowed down. I was trying to get to the other side and shot me.
So that helps your decision there. There's
neither one.
But yeah,
if
this gets out early enough and the open beta is still going on, check it out.
Did I just kill myself?
Otherwise, I mean, the footage you're seeing here, that's about all of the open beta was. So
running off the map?
Who cares?
I'm sure thousands of other people got up their videos, but
better
what we
use
saw at the E3 trailer, what you're seeing here is about all I really
Well, I delivered my body to that guy.
Maybe they'll prove me wrong. Maybe the full release will have a whole bunch more. And if it looks like it,
one round.
I'll buy it,
Yeah,
give you
one
guys
round
an
video.
actual review
Yeah.
of the full price
One good
game. But
round
as
we
of
had.
right now, I think the
We should,
channel
well,
stay away
we
from
should back
it,
out.
keep it on the back end of the radar. But we're just
Are we
gonna
playing the same
kinda
people?
steer
Yeah, pretty
clear.
much.
As always, if you guys feel differently or you think that this game is the one that's the one, or you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please feel free to leave them down in the comment boxes, or feel free to hit me up on any of the social medias. And as always, have a great one, guys.